And this right here, my friends, is exactly what you do when you're about to be sued.
Story has already been updated. The updated version is still available, and the original reporting was taken down. I want to provide context and a direct examination, as well as provide an apology. Let me put up the picture full mass.
Earlier today, I released a video on the bike carrying situation in New York, and I wanted to wait at least a good 2 or 3 days to actually do a video on it. Of course, a lot of commentators, much more advanced search engines than myself, much more knowledge. They went ahead and gave their takes, and of course, come to find out, they were actually proven completely right. And of course, myself, the video that I did was mostly focused on the fact that journalists had this massive level of cognitive dissonance when it came to this case. You see, you have to go ahead and hold water for your side. You know, that's just kind of what the left does nowadays. That's kind of sort of how they react. Even if, say, what they're reacting to is something that they got completely wrong, or how best do I put this? Something that they reported on they got completely wrong. Now, in the case of this New York City bike Karen, this lady here, I think her last name is pronounced Cremo. I'm trying to pronounce a little bit. I'm trying to learn to pronounce it properly, so please bear with me. We already know the story. The story has already came out. You know, there was the incident where she went down to go get an e-bike, and of course, two young men were out there claiming that it was theirs, and then she said it was hers. And then, of course, a shouting match ensued, and she started saying, "You're harming my fetus," this, that, and the other. But yet, the lady actually had receipts proving that the bike belonged to her, and of course, she is suing what looks like is going to about to be MSNBC, possibly TYT, and just about every single journalist out there that we can think of off the top of our heads, and without even going any further down the rabbit hole, who actually misrepresented this story. This also more than likely includes the New York Daily News. Now, guys, in that previous video that I did in fact talk about the fact that the New York Daily News, that they had accidentally covered this story the wrong way, or maybe they intentionally covered the story the wrong way, basically saying that she was a Karen and that the two young black youths were in the right. Of course, they did a retraction. They basically came out. Of course, this was after the lady had hired an attorney, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people are probably thinking to themselves, how the hell did that happen so fast? Well, it's probably due to the fact, and more facts are still coming out in this case. This has probably been going on for roughly a month or so. Now, the thing is this right here. When we're in the world of covering media, when we're in the world of covering current events, sometimes we don't have the dates readily available. Sometimes the article will come out and you don't have the date of the incident. Now, of course, this right here is one of the main reasons why it is that I ultimately chose not to do current events the day of and give it another day or two to get some more facts before I gave you guys a presentation. And of course, if I get anything wrong, I come out and say, hey, look, man, look, I kind of screwed this one up. I'll probably delete this video, or hell, I even leave this video so that way you guys can roast me, whichever one you want to do. Obviously, this right here was not one of those cases, but TYT, the people at TYT, John Adirola, and of course the new race grifter that they have, Rashad Richey, they obviously chose to go ahead and take a stance on one of the narratives. Now, before we get to this full apology, which I personally still think is not really an apology, we have to go back in time to their initial reporting on this. So let's go ahead and roll clip number one.
Believable. Put up the picture. We got her name, where she works, her boss. I want to remind you of a couple of things that happened in this video. Obviously, it is telling, right? She said, and I quote, "You are hurting my fetus, my unborn child." Did you all hear that part? She said that. Why did she say that? Because that bolsters her argument to do what she's attempting to do, which is theft under any other circumstance. We will call this attempted theft if the black male went up to the white female who paid for her opportunity to utilize the device and he decided to grab it and try to take it. We will call that clearly attempted theft. So let's call it as.
Oh, guys, the New York Daily News, the New York Post, and I haven't seen where the New York Times has done anything, but a lot of news outlets have already reported that yeah, the lady had receipts, and come to find out she was actually in the right, and she wasn't really being the Karen here that everybody thought she was being. But of course, that did not stop MSNBC. I'm pretty sure, I'm hoping that you guys saw the Sean Fitzgerald video, because he actually had the clip of the journalist from MSNBC going to this lady's apartment complex to basically say, look, you've got a racist, you've got a white supremacist, you've got these people living in your building.
That woman lives in this building with me?
Why you took his phone? What's wrong with you? Don't touch his phone. Do not touch his phone.
I'm not touching you. This is my bike. It's on my account. Please move.
All right, so why don't we reset the bike?
I'm not resetting the bike.
It's his. It's his.
It's clearly like a Karen, a Central Park Karen.
Well, how you stop crying? Not a tear came down, miss.
She thinks that she's viewed as a victim because she's white, and she thinks that. That's obvious in this America that we all live in.
Putting the lady and her child, or her unborn child, at further risk. Obviously, you guys can see that fake news and very, very liberal agendas can come back to hurt anybody. I mean, another great case would obviously be Nicholas Sandmann, you know, the kid who basically was just standing in place, and he had this native guy named Nathan Fillion. And by the way, of course, when you actually look further and further and further into his background, the seedier and seedier and seedier that it looked. And of course, eventually Sandmann would sue CNN for millions of dollars. Same thing with the Washington Post. Eventually, the incident with Kyle Rittenhouse would occur. Of course, we all know what the hell really and truly happened there. Most of us already knew what happened because people had phone cameras and footage was released, and we saw that it was actually a clear-cut case of self-defense. Now, a situation like this right here may make you think to yourself, well, why in the world would a woman who's pregnant, who's like 6 months pregnant, who her belly is kind of showing, why in the world would a woman actually put herself in harm's way like this? Why in the world would she scream and holler like this unless maybe it was very possible that she may have been telling the truth from the get-go? Well, I think the people at TYT kind of came to this conclusion roughly a couple of days ago. This first bit here, which I'm going to play kind of in a row of about 3 minutes, this was actually posted 4 days ago. I'm saying 4 days ago, even though it was 3 days ago, because this video will be coming out on Tuesday afternoon. With that right here being said, let's go ahead and roll this little bit of a montage here, because I think these people were starting to see that, yeah, a lawsuit was coming. The Young Turks have got a lot of money coming in. Katzenberg, Reimer, a lot of very, very high-profile people. They're supposed to be Progressive Network. They're supposed to provide commentary and opinion. At one point in time, they provided mostly comedy. I still think, for the most part, that Cenk Uygur, as bad as he is, he does have his funny moments, like his meltdowns can be absolutely hilarious. But at the same time, though, the guy's not exactly what we call honest, okay? The people at TYT, they're very, very left-wing. They're very destructive. They lie about stories all the time. They were basically saying that the riots in 2020 were not a big deal because they were obviously playing to their base. They're basically the National Enquirer. That is who the hell the Young Turks are. And, of course, they have people like Rashad Richey, who, by the way, is a bona fide race grifter. And he did eventually issue somewhat of an apology. But to me, it takes a lot of mental gymnastics to kind of get to this area. But I'm thinking right now that what happened was that TYT, they sent this very bad story out. They obviously made fun of this lady. Of course, they had John Otto roll up the damage report, who I personally think is the worst and most annoying person at that network. He came out, ran his mouth about it, and of course, we are here today looking at TYT saying this as, holy crap, we are about to get sued. We are about to lose a lot of money, especially given the fact that there's a lot of money at that organization being lost because they're not getting the views they once had. They're not getting the membership subscriptions that they once had. And also something else, too, their overlord, their actual zealot, Cenk Uygur, has a book coming out that still has not been written on Amazon for pre-order called Justice is Coming. It's been sitting there for over 2 years. He's not written not the first damn page. A bunch of lying grifters who are just simply after donations is all the hell these people are. And I don't think that in this situation that a lawsuit would be something that they would want, as I roll this little bit of footage for you.
2 days ago, after a video went viral of a worker in a healthcare system, was going back and forth with a young black male about a bike. We reported on it. There is an update. Now, I want to provide proper context to this update. Let me remind you of the video. Here it is, a statement. They did put her on leave. The video was viewed more than 35 million times. The attorney is now saying the entire narrative was taken out of context. Let me provide to you the update, and I will opine as well. So there's a new twist, should we say, in the viral city bike confrontation that saw a New York City healthcare worker get into a heated argument with a group of young black men. Her lawyer said she did, in fact, pay for the bike and has the receipts to prove it. The 90-second clip, which has been viewed more than 35 million times since it was posted on May 13th, shows this healthcare worker, Sarah Comrie, straddling the two-wheeler as she argues with a man right next to her, claiming it's his. "Help me," she says. "Please help me," she yells. She can be heard shouting loudly as the video starts. The updated version is still available, and the original reporting was taken down. I want to provide context and a direct examination, as well as provide an apology. Let me put up the picture full mass. Last week, 35 million individuals viewed a video. It was viral. This video showed a woman screaming help and black males around her disputing about a bike. Well, in that, there were two narratives. One narrative was to believe the young people. The other narrative was to believe the adult. In that instance, I believed the young person. I still believe that there's a good faith reason why both possibly believed that they actually had access to that bike. At no point did I ever believe that the young black male was trying to rob the female in question. But now it has been reported that there's a receipt showing she had a good faith reason to believe that the city bike was hers. Naturally, that information has not been rebutted nor confirmed at all by the others involved. We're still waiting for an update. Also, City Bike has not confirmed, at least at this point, how this could have happened where two individuals possibly believed that they both rented that same bike at the same time.
Sounds to me like them two boys left him out to dry. Sounds to me like them two boys probably deleted everything in their phones. And it sounds to me like them two boys obviously got rid of them fake receipts because they probably would have gotten charged. Next thing you know, these young boys are sitting inside of a jail cell somewhere, and next thing you know, they've been charged with something because in the state of New York, just about anything in that city, said city, I said state, meaning to say city, but just about anything and everything in that city, from just looking at somebody the wrong way, is now considered to be a crime. Maybe these boys just decided to cut and run, obviously, before everything decided to make it to national news, or maybe they saw themselves on national news, and maybe mama and daddy probably said, you might want to get rid of this crap right here, even though obviously the evidence and the receipts are already out there and people know what the hell happened. Obviously, these two boys said, you know what, screw this, we're not going to go on this network, we're not going to go on this show. You look kind of crazy, you look kind of seedy, you look a little bit like a bat or something like that there, Dr. Rashad Richey, and you know what? We don't want anywhere near you. We don't want the national exposure because obviously we were full of crap and they decided to leave you hanging in the process, doctor. He's called a doctor. I don't damn it know. I have no idea why the hell I even call a doctor, but obviously he's a quack. Guys, I'm going to get to the mental gymnastics of this apology here in a second, but first I need to say this right here because it is in fact very important. Okay, and I want you guys to pay very, very close attention to this. They said they scrubbed it. It's been updated, the news story. It's been viewed 35 million times. So basically you're thinking to yourself that TYT and probably Benjamin Crump probably called them up, another one of those race scripting attorneys, probably said, you know what, delete the footage, get rid of the footage. These people obviously underestimate the power of the internet. You see, I covered this story. Black Conservative Perspective, Greg Foreman, he covered this story. The Officer, Brandon Tatum, covered this story. The New York Post covered this story. The New York Daily News had to do a retraction and then recover the story with the actual full clip and everything. ABC 7 New York, they covered it. Fox New York, they covered it. Fox News covered it. What I'm trying to say to you is that just about everybody on the internet covered this story. Everybody on the internet has that clip. Everybody on the internet has some form of documentation of what happened. So I don't see how scrubbing this little piece of media is going to help out. Of course, people would be more than willing to do what? They would be more than willing to hand that information over to an attorney who, like I said, more than likely already has it in his possession. All you have to do is just simply screen record the actual incident itself. That's all the hell you really and truly have to do. So I don't care how many apologies that you throw out here. It's pretty damn obvious that this woman right here is going to sue all these people, and she's going to be very successful. But that leads me to one last point. I had to hear Rashad talk about how it was that he took the age. He took the age into consideration of the two boys, not the race. Stop lying, dude. Stop lying, man. Stop lying. I'm pretty sure that if it had been two white boys doing this to a white woman or a white Karen or whatever, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have even made the news. If it had been two white boys and a black lady or a Hispanic lady or an Asian woman, it's pretty obvious that it would have made the news. You guys took advantage of a situation, and you chose the race, not the age. You chose the race, not the age. Don't even lie. I don't consider this right here to be much of an apology, even though I put, obviously, the thumbnail saying that TYT apologizes. The reason why I did that is because any type of half-hearted apology is exactly what you're going to get out of these very, very, very bad faith people who obviously did this in very bad faith. And over the last 3 days, they've been trying to adjust on this. One of the segments they had the other night was the mayor of Enfield, North Carolina. This is a city that I know. And I'll tell you right now how I know this city, because I'm not an idiot. I live in this area. You see, you guys can look it up on a map. I don't live anywhere near that town, but I definitely live in the block that it's in. You see, I was also an intern at an attorney's office, and I had to drive up on 3 separate occasions to take photos of 3 separate people who got into car accidents because it was a personal injury firm. And I know the makeup of that town. Very, very small, very, very poor. Seems to me like they just continue to try to play that narrative, try to get some people who may hold some office in small towns, small, very, very black, poor, impoverished towns, which, by the way, these Democrats still don't go out of their way to fix, including my hometown, which, by the way, I will not tell you of that right there. You guys can just try to figure out where I stay at. Just know it's not that far down the road from the place I just mentioned. Fact of the matter is that these people here, they went ahead and jumped on the side of race and made this thing racial. And now it looks to me like they're all about to get sued for it. Kyle Rittenhouse obviously couldn't get it done due to a situation being 18 years old. But this right here is a pregnant woman, a nurse. A pregnant nurse. Everyone loves nurses. Everybody loves nurses. Everybody loves these ladies who care for our babies and care for us in the hospital, even though some of them, quite frankly, can be a pain in the ass. Even though I love you, ladies, I do love you, nurses. I really, truly do. Don't take that as an insult. I know that I may end up on the hospital someday, and I may need you. Just know that we love you. We really and truly do, even though you can be a real pain in the ass sometimes. But still, we love you. But how do you think people are going to see this? How do you think people are going to see this when this goes nationwide, or if it becomes a much, much bigger story? How do you think this is going to look? Nurse, pregnant, 2 boys. Maybe what happened in this case was that these 2 boys that Rashad wanted to come out there, maybe their families may have gotten to them and told them. There's a reason why I mentioned that they obviously left him out to hang. Guys, John Claymore here. If you like this content, please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comment section. And if I have earned your subscription, please hit that subscribe button and please hit the notifications bell and please leave a comment in the comment section. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. And I'll see you guys later.